Hello friends, welcome back. It is that time of year again. It is the Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend 2025 event guide. Super excited for this weekend. 20th anniversary of the Goofy Challenge, and I cannot wait. So let's not waste any time and let's dive into all the details for this year's event.
3, 2, 1, go!
Well, friends, let's dive into the event guide. And right here you have your welcome page. Just, basic every race weekend, same thing. Adam Ball, Vice President of ESPN Wireless Sports, Run Disney, and Disney Water Parks, welcoming us to another race weekend. Highlights our sponsored charity or celebrated charity of the event weekend, the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. And of course notes that this is the 20th anniversary of Goofy's Race and a Half Challenge. Moving along, we get into the weekend events here, and this is all pretty standard from weekend to weekend. And you have a bunch of different tabs, and each tab kind of gives you different information based on what the tab's about. We will start at the top, of course, and begin with important information. The important information tab is just a bunch of general information about Run Disney Race Weekend. This stuff doesn't typically change too much from weekend to weekend, but can. But right at the top, you do have some event information, costuming guidelines, stuff like that. So there is that. So moving along here, we will begin with the weather warning system. This is pretty standard for pretty much all races around the country, at least most of them. You have a flag warning system. Obviously green, good conditions. Yellow may be some less than ideal, some wind, some possible rain or high humidity kind of stuff like that. But just to keep in mind that weather may be a problem. And red obviously is, now it's more serious. You may be looking at some downpours or some high humidity impacting high heat, stuff like that, or real low cold temperatures, whatever that may be. And then black flag is the extreme. Usually that's when we're looking at courses being cut or races being canceled altogether. So just keep that in mind, because Marathon Weekend may have some weather issues. If you remember from the last year, 2024, the half marathon was modified due to weather, and then in 2017 the half marathon was canceled altogether. So it can happen. Just keep that in mind. Something kind of new they've been starting with this race season is giving you actual projected start times for each of your corral or start groups. And here you can see a full rundown of each race and the start times for each projected race. Now, something that is different for Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend that we don't typically see for the other events. This is the largest race weekend of the of the race weekends that Run Disney does. And typically for the 5K and 10K, especially because we just got done with Wine and Dine not too long ago, for those smaller races, you only saw the starting groups go from A to D. At least for the 5K, 10K and half, usually you may see A to E. For Marathon Weekend, they've typically always done an extra one because it's usually the largest weekend. But this year they actually have two more than Wine and Dine did. So now we go A to G. So that's something that, interesting to keep in mind, that we have some extra corrals. Now, something else to note about corrals, beginning with this race season, because they expanded the proof of time window. A through C is now proof of time corrals. So prior to this race season, A and B were proof of time corrals. Now it's A, B, and C. So that could be another reason why they added another corral for this race weekend, because now we have an extra proof of time corral. But just some interesting things to note as we go forward. Event waivers and check-in pass. Now, you should have already signed your event waiver in your Run Disney account. If not, they do have paper waivers when you get to the expo and go to pick up your bib. And sometimes, there can be an account issue where it prevents you from signing that event waiver. But you do need to sign an event waiver, whether it's online, digitally, or if it is in person. But just keep in mind, they will have paper waivers just in case as an issue. Expo check-in pass, that will be available on January 6th. This is just a little digital tab or thing that they use to check your bib number and then verify with your ID when you pick up your bib. So those will be available January 6th, the day before the expo begins. Moving along, or I should say 2 days before the expo begins. But anyways, moving along to costume guidelines here. This is just general information about costume guidelines. So if you are planning on running in costume, do keep in mind that you need to, adhere to these guidelines. They may request you remove items or modify your costume when you're there. One thing Run Disney is pretty good about is trying to do whatever they can to make sure you still can wear your costume. They don't want you to just, get rid of it and then you're out of luck kind of thing. They still want you to run in your costume, but they may have to make some modifications to it in order for you to run in it. So just go through these in case you are making a costume and are unfamiliar with some of those guidelines. Event reminders, just kind of general basic reminders. Go through start staging, safety kind of things, all that kind of stuff. Event reminders, just all kind of basic Run Disney stuff. Nothing I'm really going to go through too much. Just general information that for all Run Disney events. This really doesn't ever change. This flag guidelines. Now this is a little different than the weather guidelines. This is for actual people carrying a flag. There are specific guidelines. There are quite a few people that will carry an American flag or flag from the country they're representing, that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind, that you do have to follow these guidelines for if you are going to run with an actual flag. And then we're going to race day information. All kind of, again, general information. Nothing too crazy. Gear check information will be available for all the races in the reunion area. You'll receive a clear bag that you can utilize for gear check. Gear check is when you first enter we'll go through the start staging in a bit here, but when you go over there, they'll ask you to put your bib number on the bag that you receive. There's a nice white rectangular box that they'll have Sharpies and stuff out that you can write that on. Then you'll tie your bag up and hand it off into one of the trucks, and you'll be good to go. There is also food and beverage available. There are a lot of food trucks out there. They do have a Disney sponsored tent as well. That is where people get their post-race refreshments and coffee and anything else you may need there. So that is available. There is lost and found too, in case you do lose anything. Race etiquette, again, general running race etiquette information. Nothing I'm going to go much through here. Just general running knowledge kind of stuff. Something new they started this season as well is having a tab for the snack box and nutrition information. So this is beneficial because for the notes that on the 5K there's 1 water stop, 10K will be 3 water stops, half marathon will have the first stop will be water only, then the next 8 will have water and Powerade, and there will be 1 food stop on course we will go through a bit more of this on when we go into the course breakdowns. And then when you go in, and then for the marathon, again, first stop will be water only, then 18 water and Powerade stops, and there will be 5 food stops throughout. At the finish line, you'll be able to receive a bottle of water, a bottle of Powerade, the snack box, which will have things like a honey stinger waffle, usually Skittles or M&Ms, some sort of candy. Of course, the world famous plastic cheese and chips, and usually one of those wet towelettes. And there was a new sponsor, some toast thing. I didn't eat that, but that was in there. So just general information about that. Then there's a post-race information tab. This is basically saying the race results will be posted in the evening after each race. That's done by Track Shack, who is running kind of the race logistics for each Run Disney weekend in Walt Disney World. So keep in mind, if you are looking for race results, that will be posted each night after the race. Photo Pass. If you are looking to get your race photos, these will be on the back of your bib as well, but if you do not remember to look at that, they're here, and each race has a code. Now, say if you're doing Dopey like myself, your bib number will be the same for all 4 races, but you do have to enter each race individually. So after the 5K or before, you can enter it before or after, but the pictures obviously won't start coming up until after the race. You enter the 5K code with your bib number, replacing the X's here. And then same thing for 10K half and full. And then they'll all come, eventually. Some may take up to 48 hours, it tells you. So a lot of times, a good majority are in within, I would say, 12 hours after the race. But, there's always some stragglers because they use special software, and then people go through photos as well. And that kind of, they're double, triple checking things to make sure everybody gets as many photos as they can and stuff like that. So don't panic if you don't see your photos, right away. Give them up to 48 hours for pretty much all the photos to be in. And then even after that, if you have a photo question, contact PhotoPass. They are really good about finding those photos and getting them to you if at all possible. Advent Health is the medical on-site for all Run Disney World races, or Run Disney races in Walt Disney World. So keep that in mind. They do a great job. All that stuff is complimentary. You don't have to pay for any medical support on the race course. Last tab here is a minivan tab. It's basically just an ad for you to use minivans during race weekend. So there is that. Going back to the race events, that takes us into the Health and Fitness Expo. Now, with Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend, the Health and Fitness Expo is 4 days, and it begins on Wednesday. Most other weekends, we see it starting on Thursday, but because we have 4 races, we get an extra day here. So Expo Day will begin January 8th, Wednesday, at 10 a.m. and run until 8 p.m. Day 2 will be Thursday, January 9th from noon to 7 p.m. Same thing for Day 3, Friday, January 10th. And then Day 4, much shorter day, really, unless you're going there to get something specifically, or if you are a marathon runner and that's, you're getting in on Saturday. That's your last day to get anything from the Expo from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So there is that. Let's start with virtual queue information. So now if you were looking to get that coveted merchandise on day 1, I repeat, on day 1 only, the virtual queue will be in effect. This is, I think, year 3 or 4 of this. Pretty standard stuff by now. You are able to join the virtual queue at 8:30. You can have up to 6 guests as in your queue party, and then you'll be called back when the expo opens at 10. So don't, and sometimes they do start calling the groups a bit earlier than 10, but don't panic. You'll be fine. You have, I believe, an hour to get back to your queue time. So you'll be fine. But just keep in mind, on day one, you do need the virtual queue to get into the merchandise area. You don't need the queue to get into to get your bib or your race shirt, but if you want to buy Run Disney merchandise or even just look at it, you do need to enter the queue on day one. The other days, don't utilize it because the expo is historically much less busy. Pretty much the vast majority of attendees are going on day one. 5K runners and Dopey runners have to go on day one because that's the day before all the races begin. And you need your bib before you run, so that's your day to go. But yeah, so just, if you're looking for some more information on how the virtual queue works, they do have a Learn More tab that gives a full rundown on how to join the virtual queue, how to set it up in your My Disney Experience account. Again, event waivers, we went over that, so I'm going to skip that, going to race bib and shirts. This is just making sure you know that you need to pick up your shirts by certain days. So like I said, if you're 5K or Dopey, you need to pick up your stuff on Wednesday. If you're 10K, you can pick up on Wednesday or Thursday. Half marathon or Goofy, you can pick it up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then marathon any day. So just keep those things in mind. You have to pick that stuff up at the expo prior to the races. Expo transportation. All Walt Disney World resorts and Shades of Green and Swan and Dolphin have Run Disney transportation. That is for the expo and for the races itself. For the expo, transportation will begin 30 minutes prior to expo open and run 30 minutes after expo close. So now if you are Club Run Disney, like myself, whether it be Platinum or Gold, that gets early entry into the expo, you cannot take race transportation because it will not be running for the early entry period. So that you have to either have a car or use Uber, Lyft, minivan, stuff like that to get there. So keep that in mind. If you are Club Run Disney, you can utilize the transportation on the way back because it should be running by the time you're done. But to get there, you do need to utilize some sort of alternate transportation if you are Club Run Disney. Moving along, again, another minivan ad. Here's a map of the Wide World of Sports complex and showing all the buildings in use here. Building A is where your merchandise will be and your commemorative item pickup. Building B will be race shirt pickup, but you can't get your race shirts until you pick up your bib, which will be in Building C. Building B will also be your main kind of vendor hall, or all the vendors and stuff will be. So that's just, kind of Building B is the main running expo portion. A is just all merchandise, and C is just bib pickup and runner relations if you need to talk to them. They also will have characters in here. We'll get into that in a little bit with more of these maps. This is the merchandise area here, and as you can see, it's a very large space. This was built probably 4 or 5 years ago now. They've been using this, and it's been utilized for merchandise ever since they opened it. Really helps spread people out. So the main floor is all the official merchandise. They'll have a section for your pre-purchased items if you did that. And then they do these photo opportunities are typically the kind of step and repeats distances. So like they'll have a 3.1 for the 5K, a 6.2 for the 10K, a 48.6 for Dopey, those kind of things. That's usually what is those photo opportunities in here. If you're a Platinum Club Run Disney, your member lounge will be on the second level of this. Of course, you'll be getting in there early. Anyways, they do very much encourage mobile checkout with Run Disney merchandise, but they do have standard checkout as well if that is your jam. Moving on to the main exhibitor hall. This is, again, where you'll pick up your shirts towards the back of the building. 5K, 10K half shirts on one side, Dopey, Goofy, full marathon shirts on the other. Main floor of all the exhibitors. They typically do have an exhibitor list that they put out. That is not out yet. We are a little bit early. They usually, are finalizing some things of where people are going yet. But check back in case you're looking for that information. And then at the very back, there's a shirt exchange. So if you make sure to check your shirts when you pick them up. It's happened plenty of times where, say I ordered or I selected mediums and I checked through my shirts. I should say it's not a common occurrence, but it does happen. So, make sure you do check them in case. But say I selected all mediums. Well, I'm going through and I got 5 mediums and a small in one. Okay, then go to the shirt exchange and, look to exchange that shirt for a medium. Or say you selected all mediums, but the mediums don't fit, so you need larges or smalls, whichever it may be. Again, go look, to see it. Now, the shirt exchange is kind of, they're not guaranteed to have every size of every shirt, so keep that in mind too. But they usually are pretty good about that stuff. So just, it's all kind of a first come, first serve basis on that shirt exchange. But definitely check your shirts before you leave. And lastly, the State Farm Fieldhouse is where your bib pickup. So they'll have a section for Dopey, a section for 10K, Marathon Goofy, 5K half. Runner Relations will be there. Athletes with Disabilities will have a booth there if you are in that. And then there's an account services if you're having problems with your Run Disney account. Off back here, the game day photos. This is usually now where they have character photo opportunities. So you can take photos with the characters and bibs. They're usually in theme to the weekend. So with this being more of a Fab Five kind of, collective of characters, you probably will see like some, like Mickey or Goofy or Daisy, Donald, those kind of characters will be out there. So that is the Expo. And moving back to weekend events, we are now on to our races, the 5K. And again, start group times. This is just for the 5K now, just a graphic for that. Gives you a general idea of when all groups will open at 3:45, and then groups will close at certain times, projected times to go off. Now, these are just projected times estimates. They may not be exact. So if you go off at 5:06 and you're in A, don't freak out. It's just things happen. It's all based on making sure the course is safe to send off that next group of runners. Spectator viewing, go a little bit more into this in the course, but for the 5K especially, the parks aren't open. You don't really go outside of Epcot at all, much, I should say. There's some backstage, obviously, but this for spectators, you really can only view at the start and finish. So if you're looking to spectate for the 5K, start and finish is your only options. Transportation for the 5K will begin at 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. for the start, and then back after the race, 6:30 to 8:30. They will come around, especially if you're there. They'll have plenty of cast members walking around if you're at the finish area in the reunion lot. And, it's 8:25. They'll be like, hey, you got 5 minutes. Make sure you get into the buses, or if you have, drove, that kind of thing. They like to shut that area down to get ready for the next day. And again, all Walt Disney World resorts, plus Shades of Green, plus the Swan and Dolphin resorts, those are all included in official transportation. So there is that. Now for the 5K, it's bus only. For the 10K, it is bus only. For the half and full, they do utilize monorail transportation, but we will get into that more in a second when we get to those races. Again, a race etiquette tab, that's the same as before. Event reminders, again, same as before. Snack box, same as before. Photo pass, same as before. We will go into start and staging first before we go into the course itself. So let's go there. Actually, I want to go here first with the parking and the lots situation. So all of the parking is open and complimentary for runners race morning. If you are on a bus, resort buses will drop off in the resort bus section. You will then walk and enter through the main Epcot entrance through the security. Then you will walk from the main Epcot entrance past the Epcot entrance through the parking lot, again, and into the reunion lot area over here. This is kind of the main area you hang out in until start groups open, and then you go over there into the start group area, and each corral will be labeled. And yeah, so let's go into this one is a little more of a close-up of that area. Again, there will be food and beverage options. Usually they also have a food truck or two in this area. So there's also that option in here. There will be plenty of porta potties all throughout here, and then all throughout over here as well, and in the start group area. Over here is where gear check will be. There's going to be a bunch of trucks set up, and you can check your bags over there. After the race, this is where you'll pick up your bus over here in this reddish area. And then there will be a stage up here. Stage is where a DJ will be. Usually the race announcers come out, try to get you going, that kind of stuff. When you go into the bib or the start group area, this will be a bib check. So anybody that is not running, if you have a spectator, they can't go through this area into the start groups. They will have to go back here and into the spectator area by the start. And then again, this is all spectator viewing for the finish line as well. In the start group area, now something they started with Wine and Dine, which they are doing again. The start groups, now after C, again, like I said, after the proof of time corrals, they are starting to kind of split up those back corrals even more. So what they'll do is they'll load a corral, or they'll load, say you're in D, they have it split into smaller sections even within D. So they're going to load one section first, close it off. And then once that section is closed off, the next section opens, and you are in that section. That's kind of to help split up the corrals even more into waves, which they do waves in the earlier corrals too, but this is really to kind of partition it off to make sure keep giving that that greater distance between each group. So there is that. Keep that in mind. They did start that. Now, say you have to go to the bathroom, and you're in you're in a group already. Now, what they did for Wine and Dine, I don't know if this will be the same. This part at least, but I do know they are doing the smaller sections within the corrals. Again, that is confirmed. But they did give a password. So say you got to go to the bathroom, they're going to say, okay, your password is Mickey Mouse. And when you come back, you just got to, in order to get back into that section, because it's already closed off, you need to give the password of Mickey Mouse. I do realize that could be problematic if you're trying to get friends in. And yeah, but that's how they did it for Wine and Dine. I don't know if that's how they'll do it again, but that is what they did. So keep that in mind for corrals. Now for the course itself. Again, you start in the Epcot parking lot like I just showed, run out alongside the parking lot and backstage going towards Epcot. The entirety of mile 1 is all road and backstage kind of stuff. And then once you get into Epcot, historically, a lot of times we've gone to the left here and gone underneath Test Track. For Wine and Dine, we did the same thing, but now we are going to the right and going past Mission Space into World Celebration here, into the center of Epcot. And then around World Showcase, this is your one water stop will be in America here. And then past mile 2, you go past all the countries, back into, this is World Nature now, past the Land Pavilion, back into World Celebration, around Spaceship Earth, and then out to the finish. This is basically the exact same course we did for the Wine and Dine 5K. So if you did that one, you'll be familiar with this one as well. Now, for a lot of people like to note where the real bathrooms are. Now, here, your real bathrooms will be, for the most part, all in World Showcase. Now, you do have one here in this area as you're passing by before you get into World Celebration. There will be here one on your left, kind of before you go under the overhang between Connections and Creations there. There'll be one on the left before you get to that point. Then as you come through the center of Epcot, you'll have bathrooms at the Odyssey over here just before you go over to Mexico. And then you'll have bathrooms in Norway. Then you'll have bathrooms in Germany. Then you'll have bathrooms in America, just past the water stop. Then you'll have bathrooms in Morocco over here. keep going, you'll have bathrooms in the UK over there, and then you'll have past bathrooms, like right next to bathrooms, as you're exiting World Showcase to go to World Nature. There are bathrooms over by the Imagination Pavilion, but that is kind of far off course at this point, so I'm not sure they will allow you to go over there. But there are some back here, and then you'll go back through World Celebration, and there will be bathrooms up by Spaceship Earth. So that's your final option before exiting the park backstage into the finish. So quite a few options in Epcot, but always like to note where those are. And that will do it for the 5K. So now we will move on to the 10K. Again, here's start group times, very similar to the 5K. But there is, again, if you're looking for that information, that is there at the top. Spectator viewing, again, very specific, or they specifically say start and finish. Now I will show you where there may be some other options when we get into the course itself. Transportation, again, same as the 10K, or same as the 5K, outside of the finish line. You get an extra half hour there. Is a longer race, so they give you a little bit more time at the finish line area. Race etiquette reminders, all the same. Unofficial results tab. This is now because the 5K is untimed, and then the 10K half and full are all timed, so you'll have official race results for the 10K half and full, so that's where this will come into play when those races are done. Snack box, photo pass, all the same as before. Start and staging, all the same as well. Now, there is a road closure map because we do go on the roadways. So if you are driving, or if you have people spectating and are driving in, they do need to keep in mind that there are roadways that will close and be closed throughout certain times because of the race and because of where it is run. Now on to the course. We do again start in the Epcot parking lot. This time, instead of taking a right, we go left, and we go for we go through the Epcot toll plaza here and past and do a hairpin turn just after mile 1. Now there usually is a character before the toll plaza or right after. They kind of vary on where they do that, but there's usually one somewhere around here. And then there's usually a character either near the hairpin turn or just after it as you're going up the overpass area. So again, a character was somewhere usually in that area. You get to your first water stop before mile 2. Again, a very sharp turn before going up a ramp here as you head back towards Epcot. Now, as for spectating, this is a popular spectating spot outside of the start and finish, as people will kind of line up in the parking lot here because the parking lot is open. So they'll line up here along the parking lot or by the bus stop here. So people do cheer in this area. So keep that in mind if you want to spectate. That is an option typically. And you'll go backstage before you enter into Epcot. Now, if you're looking for a real bathroom, your first real bathroom will be here by the Imagination Pavilion just as you enter Epcot. Then you are going to take a left and go past the land and by the Seas with Nemo and Friends and into World Celebration. And then you'll have another real bathroom, just like the 5K, as you enter World Showcase this time. And there will be one right in there. You also then will have a real bathroom just by the UK over there as we exit backstage. There will be a water stop just backstage. Again, usually a character back here. So there's usually somebody back there. And then you'll go around past the Beach Club and Yacht Club. And that's mile 4. You'll go then around the boardwalk and back into Epcot via International Gateway and past France and then Morocco, real bathroom option. Now, I do want to say there are real bathrooms by the pool. So there are real bathrooms by the pool for beach or Yacht and Beach Club. However, the women's is on the outside, or the men's is on the outside, and the women's is on the inside. So the women's isn't typically open, but the men's is. So it's kind of weird. It's not the best option. If you're looking for a bathroom, I would probably wait till you get, either do it right before you'll get there, or wait till you get back inside the park in Morocco. There'll be a real bathroom there. Again, America, there'll be a water stop there, and there'll be real bathrooms back there. Real bathrooms again in Germany. Real bathrooms again in Norway. Real bathrooms by the Odyssey. Then you go back through into by World Discovery. You run right past bathrooms over there. Back into World Celebration, past Spaceship Earth. There'll be real bathrooms by Spaceship Earth. And then back out to the finish. And that's your race. Spectating options again. Too, I want to mention yacht and beach, and then boardwalk. These are spectating options. However, getting there is difficult if you're not staying at those resorts. And then they do have cast members or security out, usually policing these as quiet zones. So then you can't be loud, can't be screaming or having a bunch of noisemakers, because these are resorts and there are people sleeping when it's 6 a.m. in the morning rather than running like us. So there is that. So keep that in mind if you are looking to spectate in that area. But it is an option. Plenty of people do spectate there. And yeah, that is the 10K. Moving along to the half marathon. Start group times. We do have that extra start group for this one with G. So there are start group times. They look to hopefully have everybody off by 6:06 a.m. With race start at 5. Spectator and viewing is a bit larger for this. They do note that it's the start line, like all the races. The Grand Floridian, just outside the Grand Floridian there, Main Street, USA. You do not need a ticket to get in prior to 7:30, but once 7:30 rolls around, then they try to clear everybody out of there. Contemporary, they will have a spot there. Now, I do want to note, last year this was kind of iffy. They did say this, but then they had security out there kind of pushing people back, or into it was kind of fuzzy on the contemporary spectating, so that may not be the best option, but it's an option that they do say. I don't know, it's kind of weird. Transportation and Ticket Center is always a very popular spot for spectating, and with the courses here it's reversed versus how we normally run it, but it is always a popular spot. And then of course the finish. Transportation does begin a half hour earlier for this race at 2:30, and the monorail is in effect for the half marathon. So if you are staying at a monorail resort, you do need to take the monorail to get to the race. So if you're at the Poly, Grand, or Contemporary, they do make you take the monorail for those races. For the half and full versus the bus, they won't run both. For the 5K and 10K, they run just buses. For the half and full, they run just the monorail. It's kind of weird, but that's how they do it. So there is that. Race etiquette reminders, results, all the same. Snack box, photo pass, blah, blah, blah. Start staging, all the same. Again, road closures, again, if you are spectating or driving, keep these in mind. Very important, so you don't get stuck and not able to get to the race or not able to get to your spectating spot. And then, of course, the course. As all races Run Disney does now, start in the Epcot parking lot, and we're going to go left just like the 10K. This time we are going to do a loop on the on-ramp going back towards Magic Kingdom. We are going to go, there will be a water stop between miles 1 and 2. We are going to go through, or to the left of the Magic Kingdom Toll Plaza, which will be right over here. And we are going to go towards the Polynesian and Grand Floridian. Typically, and This will be my 11th marathon weekend. We don't go there first. We go where the mile 8 marker is and go that way first through the parking lot and through the TTC. This year, they flipped it on us, and we are now going the opposite way, and we are going past the resorts first. So you will go past the Polynesian over here. Again, they don't note the Polynesian as a spectating spot there, but there are usually people out here by the Polynesian and then by the Grand as well. Unless you are staying at a monorail resort, it's pretty hard typically to get there. I mean, you can park at the TTC or at one of the resorts, I guess. I don't really know how with the, I guess since you're not using the toll plaza, you may be able to get through there and get into the parking at the TTC. I'm not totally sure on parking situation that morning. But there's usually a ton of spectators here at the TTC, but that's before we get through the Magic Kingdom, or after we get through the Magic Kingdom. Again, new this year, historically, we have always gone backstage behind Tiana's Bayou Adventure, formerly Splash Mountain, and Big Thunder stuff, but because of construction, Big Thunder will be going down for major refurb, and then you have the whole Magic Kingdom expansion starting in 2025. We are now going through the Grand Floridian pathway to the Magic Kingdom. My concern, because this is now early in the race, or earlier in the race than normal, this pathway is not as wide as a roadway, so it could be a bottleneck area. So keep that in mind as we're going through. This could be tight and could be congested. Then we will go through the Magic Kingdom entryway down Main Street, and then again another change as we look here at the Magic Kingdom portion close up. Every time I've run the Walt Disney World half, we've taken a right and gone into Tomorrowland. Well, they flipped it on us again. Now we're going left, and we're going through Adventureland. Again, another different thing. We've done it once. I believe it was for the marathon a couple years ago. We did go through Adventureland for that, but historically the half never does. And then we're going into around Adventureland, back around through Frontierland, and then past through Liberty Square, past the Haunted Mansion into Fantasyland. Then we're going through the castle, because that's always a staple for the half and full of this weekend. Through the castle, then into Tomorrowland, and doing a quick exit. Usually we go up kind of all the way through Tomorrowland. We're just going in and out backstage. And then we will take there's be a water stop backstage there. And you'll go past, you won't go into the bus stop area, kind of go behind it or past it and do a turn by Space Mountain over there. Then we will take our normal route again, but reversed down through past the Contemporary. This is where they say spectating is available. Again, it's kind of weird over there. I don't know. I wouldn't recommend that as a spectating spot. If you're looking to, I'd probably go on this side with the Poly and Grand. That seems to be a little bit better. But there is that. We'll go down then through the TTC. So you really could, if you're looking to spectate the half, you really could get a good option. Unless you're looking specifically to Main Street, you could spectate outside the Poly and then cut over and spectate at the TTC as well. Kind of get a 2-4 there. Then you'll go through the Magic Kingdom parking lot area. That your one food stop will be after mile 8. And then you'll go back past the toll plaza and on your way back to Epcot. As this race has a ton of roadway. It's not my favorite course by any means. So you're on the roads for a ton of it. Especially post Magic Kingdom, it's just a bogged down of road. Because once you get into Epcot here, you're mile 12, you're still not even back into Epcot. But once you even get back into Epcot, you're looking at basically an in and out. Because you'll enter by the Seas with Nemo and Friends, go past into World Celebration here, and through by connections and creations. Real bathroom will be over there again if needed, and then back out backstage to the finish. It's not the greatest because you don't get a ton of. There's really not much Epcot time. Going back here though to note on some real bathrooms, if you were looking for those. When you enter N Main Street, there will be real bathrooms right near the entrance there. There then, of course, will be bathrooms in Adventureland, kind of between that cut by Pirates, not by Pirates, but by across from Jungle Cruise. There's that like pass through area to get to Frontierland. There's bathrooms in there. And then back through by Haunted Mansion. We do go past because of into Fantasyland. Tangled bathrooms are over there. Those should be available through the castle and into Tomorrowland. There will be. I don't think you'll be able to get to the bathrooms back by Spaceship Earth, or I mean not Spaceship Earth. Completely different park, Space Mountain. There's bathrooms back there, but there's some bathrooms over here to the left. We do go right, so I'm not sure if there's sometimes weird about people, going off course kind of thing. But you should hopefully be able to go left, and there's bathrooms right over there that you could use before leaving. There are real bathrooms at the TTC. Now, one note of that, there was one race, I don't remember if it was the half or the full, where they literally had the bathrooms at the TTC closed off, even though we ran right next to them. So it is kind of weird. Every other race they've been open, but there was one race where they literally had them closed off and would not let you go in. But there should be real bathrooms there. But that is the course. Kind of a big change, yet not a big change, all in the same, with it being basically flipped from what we normally do. So there is that. But yeah, half marathon. And that takes us to the last race of the weekend, the full marathon. Now, the full marathon, new this year, starts a half hour earlier than all the other races at 4:30 in the morning. Earliest we have ever started the marathon. So there is that. Back when I started Run Disney, I believe the marathon started at 5:30. Then we moved to 5, and now we're at 4:30. So there's that. But yeah, start group information. Again, they're hoping to get everybody out a little quicker for the marathon. Now, usually the half is the largest race of the weekend, so we'll have the most people. Full is a little smaller. Not small, not a ton smaller, but it is a little smaller. So that could be why they're looking to get us out a little quicker at 5:27, just under an hour. Spectator viewing. Now, I will go through spectator viewing more in the course itself, but there is a bunch of official spectating areas here. Transportation will begin even earlier, 2 a.m. To the start. And again, monorail, if you are at a monorail resort, make sure you're taking that. Race etiquette reminders, results, snack box, photo pass, road closures. Again, a lot more road closures because this race is obviously a lot longer, takes up more time. So there's a lot more congestion throughout Walt Disney World in road closures. So if you're looking to spectate, or if you are, driving to the race, getting back after the race, all that kind of stuff, make sure to take a look at this so you know your route. Start staging is all the same, but let's take us into the newish Walt Disney World Marathon course. Now, this was released months ago now, before I've been wine and dine, because they made us aware that the race would start a half hour earlier, and that there would be course changes, and that we would have more park time, as they call it, even though we also have a lot more parking lot time or road time than seemingly normal. So, anyways, let's dive in. The first change, one I'm not a huge fan of. We do start, again, always start in the Epcot parking lot, but we start and we take a right this time and we go backstage into Epcot and around World Showcase. Historically, this is always reserved for the finish. We have gone into Epcot at the start, but we do a little portion at the front of Epcot before going back out and on our way to Magic Kingdom. This time we are going through World Showcase and basically all around Epcot. Complete difference. Not one I'm a fan of, but we'll get into that. Here's a close-up more of the Epcot. So again, all the same real bathrooms as all the previous races. So you're looking at Norway, Germany, America, Morocco, UK. Back through, you'll get to that bathroom on the exiting of World Showcase. And then there will be a bathroom by Spaceship Earth before you exit over there. As you go out backstage by the bus stop area now, spectators. This would be a spectating spot, the bus stop area, like I noted for other races. And then the Epcot parking lot in there. So that would be a spot you could spectate. As then we go off onto the road. And we do all the road going past. Now that we're going to the left of the Magic Kingdom Toll Plaza. For a lot of years, a lot of races, half and full, we've gone through the Toll Plaza. We are no longer seemingly doing that for either the half or the full. We're going to the left of it. So you'll still get the visual of the Toll Plaza, but we are going to the left of it rather than through it. So there is that. So then, it does get funky in here, so bear with me, but we are going, if you can follow from 6 to 7, we're going straight through here, alongside the Magic Kingdom parking lot into what is historically, I did not mention it with the half marathon, but it's also that for the half marathon, but it's historically Cone Alley in here, because it's a one-lane road, and the one side of the road is open still for traffic, because they do need, whether it be medical access or, people trying to get to their resort. That is open on that side. But then we have one lane on their side, and then there's just a wall of cones all the way down till we get to the Grand. Then we're doing that same pathway from the Grand to the Magic Kingdom, rather than going backstage like we have in past years. So again, there could be a lot of congestion in this area. So keep that in mind. Stay patient. We could have some issues there. Then we get into the Magic Kingdom. You'll have real bathrooms on Main Street, and then we're going left into Adventureland. So you'll have bathrooms in Adventureland. We are doing it kind of a hairpin turn over between Tiana's Bayou Adventure and Big Thunder. Then back through Frontierland into Liberty Square, past the tangled bathrooms there. And then back through the castle, just like the half. All this kind of portion, other than this little turn here, is all basically the same as the half until we get past the castle. Then we are doing another change. We're not going through the Tomorrowland area, or through the Tomorrowland Arch, I should say. We are going before that. We're taking a left into Fantasyland and going back into Fantasyland around Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. There will be bathrooms back here by Gaston's Tavern and stuff like that. And into Storybook Circus. And past the train station. And there will be bathrooms over there by the train station as well. We're going to go that path to Tron, under Tron. We did do this last year, but again, in reverse. We did go under Tron last year, but just in the reverse direction. And then back through Tomorrowland, there will be you should be able to access the Space Mountain area bathrooms back there. From here, or there's bathrooms on this side. You're kind of running in between those, and then back through the exit, doing that same exit we did for the half marathon, out past the bus stop. Again, we're not running through the bus stops like we normally would, but we're going past them and doing that turn past the Contemporary. Now, again, they note this as a spectating area. I don't know how great of a spectating area that is, but if you want to spectate there, go for it. I don't know. Then through the TTC again, and again, that's a good spectating area if you're looking to spectate. TTC would be an option. Now here's where it goes through some weird changes. When we get to mile 12, now we're doing an out and back in the Magic Kingdom parking lot, and then we're just all these kind of loops around the parking lot. We basically do a full mile in the Magic Kingdom parking lot. Yeah. But hey, they say we get more park time. Okay, moving along. Then we cut off and we're on our way towards Animal Kingdom, miles 13, 14, 15. And this is all kind of basically, this portion is basically the same as what we've been doing with Animal Kingdom. We'll enter Animal Kingdom backstage behind the safari area. Usually they bring out some of the animals like the goats and stuff backstage here, and they'll have those before we enter the Magic Kingdom, or Animal Kingdom, that is. And then we'll enter into Animal Kingdom here, as you can see in this close-up. There will be rail bathrooms upon entry over here, and there will be rail bathrooms on this path as you get towards the. It's not a very big bathroom, so maybe I don't know if that's the best option. And then there will be bathrooms over before Everest over here as well. Mile 17 is basically Everest. Now, if you are like me and looking to ride Everest, we do note the race starts a half hour earlier. Park open is typically 8 o'clock. If you're a theme park guest or a resort guest, that it would be 7:30. So depending on your stay, you're looking at, by this point, just you're looking to time things right here. You should still be able to ride it, assuming that you get there with time to spare and after park open. Some years they have had trains full of just runners in the single rider line. Some years they put you through the lightning lane or fast pass line. Some years they make you go standby. So it's all kind of a crapshoot. There was a year where we were there too early and had to wait for it to open. But we were first in line. So there's that. So just some things to keep in mind if you're looking to ride Everest. So then but after Everest we will go through what will soon be extinct in Dino Land and out backstage before leaving. And there's usually backstage here behind Everest. This will be or it is actually earlier this year. Usually it's passed behind Everest a bit, but there will be a banana stop here. This is usually what that food stop is. What's actually kind of interesting is trying to see. I guess they have a food stop because historically, in many years they'll have a food stop kind of on the way in to Animal Kingdom and on the way out. So it looks like they only have one at this point. But anyways, and then we leave Animal Kingdom going back on the roadway, and then we go to everybody's favorite spot. I mean, it's just the best spot of the course, and that would be the Blizzard Beach parking lot, where we do a grand loop around that parking lot, and it's the best time. It's just so great, if you can't catch my sarcasm. But yeah, Coronado Springs, there usually is some spectators out here. If you're staying at that resort, you can kind of watch along the entryway over there. And then we go into Hollywood Studios. Again, a very quick kind of in and out at the studios. We don't really even have a close-up of this one. But you'll go in backstage by Tower of Terror. There will be real bathrooms over there. And kind of down a little bit of Sunset Boulevard back, and then back out, kind of past the entryway. Now, some people may try to ride Tower of Terror. It's an option. People have done it. I know plenty of people who have done it. Again, be mindful that you may have to wait standby. Park will be open at this point. And unless you're an A in running a 2-hour marathon. The park will be open at this point. But there is that. So Tower of Terror. Then you're back out past the bus stop and the Skyliner station. There is a bathroom right by the Skyliner station there, and the bus stops. So that is a real bathroom option. Before you hit International Squeezeway, as some call it, or the pathway from Hollywood Studios to the boardwalk, there is a water stop on this portion. Now, usually with the marathon, it's not too congested because at this point it's pretty spread out in the race. But that can be a congestion point. Just keep that in mind. Then we run around the boardwalk. This is a big spectating spot, the boardwalk. At this point, usually there's no longer a quiet zone, so there's plenty of people out and about cheering you on before you enter back into Epcot via behind International Gateway and the World Showplace Pavilion and stuff like that, and then go back to this zoomed in area. You're going to enter back here between the UK and Canada by World Showplace. That's what this building is. And go take a left. Now, this will be my 8th Walt Disney World Marathon, and every single one of them, prior to this, I should say, we've taken a right, and you do your victory lap around World Showcase to the finish. This year, they have decided to no longer do that, and we take a left, and we go past Imagination and the seas and the land, and out the front, and don't even barely sniff World Showcase. And to say I am disappointed in that is an understatement, but such is life. That obviously at this point too, usually Epcot is open. Epcot does open at 10 a.m. this day, so that is a delayed open for the park. But for the majority of us, the park will probably be open. So there will be plenty of spectators in along here and along this area as we exit going towards the finish. Big thing I am going to miss is there's usually always a ton of people right when you enter, and then you can do that victory lap around World Showcase, and people are grabbing pretzels in Germany or beers and margaritas, and they're making their way to the finish, and it's okay. It will be okay. But as we get to the finish towards center here, we'll go through Connections Creations and out back. I suppose we could. There's a beer cart here if you wanted to over here. If you wanted to get a beer as an option. I'm hoping to still somehow get a margarita from over here. But also the UK. You could go to the UK, get a beer there. Canada, there's beer options there as well. So you're not shut out completely of an option to the finish. There is also a popcorn cart here. I believe they have beer as well. So again, another option. Between Connections and Creations, out past Mission Space, backstage behind Test Track, back around and to the finish. That's the full marathon. This is very long-winded of a event guide breakdown, but not quite done yet. Almost done, but just going over a few more things. Again, Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is your featured charity of the weekend. Now, they don't have them out yet, but there is historically a bunch, and they do note it here, but it says check back. A bunch of discounts at Disney Springs if you wear your medal. And usually it's like 10% off Homecoming, 15% off some places, 10% off some shopping venues, stuff like that. They do have a tab here for upcoming Run Disney events, and then these are basically all the sponsors. Nothing really too special about these tabs other than showcasing that these people sponsor Run Disney races. So there is that. But that is Marathon Weekend 2025. I certainly hope to see you there. I cannot wait for all the fun that is about to be had. it is going to be a blast. This is my favorite weekend of the year. I wouldn't miss it for the world. 11 years running now, and hopefully not stopping anytime soon. But we will see you there at Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend 2025.